Hey man, your boy is back. The doctor is checking back into the motherfucking office, recapping UFC Fight Night, RDR versus Brendan Allen. What a fucking fight night. I was kind of in and out of this card because, I was at the South Carolina game today, go Cox, even though we fucking got killed by Oklahoma. And I was at dinner with the family. But I watched most of this card, and then I watched some other recap videos on it to kind of get an idea of what the fuck is going on. But let's start off by breaking down the main event for this card. RDR versus Brendan Allen. What a goofy fucking fight. A little less goofy than we thought. We're no longer goofy goobers. And I want to start off also by saying this. Remember to Jesus Christ, this is fucking bright. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Also, this was a terrible showing for me overall in this fight night card. We went 5 for 13 on fucking picks. Worst so far of the channel. Yeah, so I apologize. So hopefully nobody tailed anything on that last card. But anyway, let's start with the main event. RDR versus Brendan Allen. Went 4 rounds, I guess. Technically went to the 5th, but man, RDR just fucking quit. And I don't like to say that about guys because combat sports is tough, and being in the octagon, being in the ring, competing is very hard to do. But man, he just got fucking out grappled, out wrestled, and out fucking cardioed. Out cardio, that makes perfect sense, by Brendan Allen this whole fight. It was an absolute masterclass from Brendan Allen. Everything from takedowns to control time, to landing elbows on the ground, landing punches on the ground. He just took the manhood away from RDR in this fight. And this actually isn't AI. This fight really did happen. I know I can't really believe that this happened. Even, listen, I give Brendan Allen his credit. Like I said, there was a chance he could win, but I really thought RDR was just going to style on him. Remember the first round of this fight, RDR was controlling. He landed a nice takedown. He had him in that body triangle position. And when I saw that first round, I was like, you know what? This is how you deal with kind of a guy who fills in on somewhat short notice and a guy who's a lesser opponent. You just beat his ass and you outclass him. Then the second round, everything fucking changed once Brendan Allen got to the ground. And it looked like RDR was just gassed really after that. Every now and then, kind of most of the fight when Brendan Allen would have him on the ground on top, he would just drop an occasional elbow, some punches the body, punches the face. And that was really where he was doing most of his damage in this fight. Round 3, at the end of that round, RDR had this like nasty inverted triangle off his back and then nearly fluked a fucking sub after getting dominated for 2 rounds at that point. Really, you could sum this fight up by mostly RDR was just on his back for pretty much the entire fight, and any of the damage that was done by Brendan Allen was done through just elbows on the ground. I just really question how the fuck did RDR fatigue so easily? That's what I was thinking. I immediately start thinking, does he have COVID? Does he have asthma? Does he have COPD? What does he have wrong with him? Because I'm confused. He went 5 rounds with Robert Whitaker, over the summer. And listen, I was critical a bit of that Robert Whitaker performance because, listen, I thought Robert Whitaker wasn't totally washed in that fight. He nearly fucking finished me, and there was that glove grab. He really should have finished him if the ref did his job. But I thought RDR's cardio towards the end didn't look great in that fight. I thought he looked gassed a lot of times, but he won the fight in the 5th round pretty much. So I can't really discredit him too much from that. And it was still a good performance from him over a Robert Whitaker guy who could still fight. Went 5 rounds with Bobby Knuckles. That's still impressive. I don't care if you want to call Bobby Knuckles washed or anything. Even though I didn't really come away incredibly impressed by RDR in that fight, he still gritted out a nice win. He just gassed so easily after this first round. And I thought Brendan Allen was just so much smarter. He was calculated. He showed fight IQ, where RDR usually would show fight IQ. You would figure that all the decisions that RDR was making would be decisions that Brendan Allen was making. Where was this Brendan Allen, though, in past fights, like against Imavov and against Marvin Vettori? Like, where has this been? He just, again, I just want to keep reiterating, he really just, I think he had like double or triple the control time than RDR in this fight. It was insane. Can't underestimate how big of a massive upset this is. I can't believe we were trying to say RDR should be fucking fighting Khamzat Chimaev. You know what I mean? What would Fluffy Hernandez have done to RDR if that fight had happened? Because I think Brendan Allen, he can kind of get into these positions where he can get wins against certain guys. I think, I discredited him a little too much. Like, there are dudes he could beat, but or Fluffy Hernandez, I think, is just a different level. He would have murked RDR, and he would have beat, and he's already 2-0 against Brendan Allen. And Brendan Allen, I think he called out Strickland, DDP, and Hamzat after this. I think he would obviously get dominated by Hamzat Chimaev. That fight's not going to happen, though. DDP beats him bad, too. And I think he honestly could lose to Sean Strickland also. But if we were to see Brendan Allen versus DDP, that would be a good goofball matchup, wouldn't it? Because Brendan Allen would probably be winning that fight and then do some dumb shit like just fucking up on the ground or something on, I don't know, some dumb reversal. Then next thing you know, DDP's on top and he's dropping haymakers on him. But honestly, for RDR, what's next? I could see, is Cannonier an option? Is Kopylov an option? I think most realistic, and this is the matchup I want to see, Paulo Costa. These guys kind of have beef already. There was a rumor that that he was actually going to fill in instead of Brendan Allen for this main event, and that ended up not happening. So that's kind of a matchup I want to see. And then I also just saw, like before coming out of this, I don't even know if it was confirmed, but I saw that RDR apparently had a broken rib. I think that was a fake report, because that would be funny if it was true. But we call that pulling a big ank in the business. So overall, insane upset. I really wasn't expecting this. Credit to Brendan Allen. Really just high IQ performance. Did a great job with control time. Just mauled RDR on the ground. Just fucking, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Strickland. Give him somebody. Give him DDP, I guess. Whatever. Down the card we go to the co-main. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. What a fucking weird fight this was. Because Kevin Holland started out pretty strong. I think he kind of dropped, Mike with like a right that kind of stunned him. He kind of slipped, so I don't really know if it was entirely dropping. He also had some nice outside calf kicks throughout that first round. But Mike Malott, he kept landing a lot of nice clean shots in close, and had some nice low leg kicks. And then after that happened, the ball shots started happening. He had like the knee that grazed him, and then he got clipped again, I think, in the balls. And Dan Mergliata, I honestly should open with this on the card. He was drunk in this fight. I mean, what the fuck was he doing? I'll get to the Frevola Kyle Nelson fight, because that was honestly worse. But what's it called? In the Drew Dober, the Drew Dober fight versus Prepolec, right? They took a point away from Drew Dober for one accidental, it was a bad nut shot in the third round. And Drew Dober, he still won, thank God. But that was ridiculous. So why was there not a point taken away in this? Even if you want to say Mike Malott, he grazed them, which I agree. I don't think they were devastating nut shots, and Kevin Holland took all 5 minutes on whatever the second one. But just ridiculous. Dan Mergliata, he was drunk and on crack all night. And then aside from that, Mike Malott, he really did a nice job, because after all those nut shots, he just looked so much faster. He landed, that right hand was there for him all night today. He kept landing that. Nice win by him. I'm not super high on Mike Malott. He really should have got a finish if Kevin Holland was truly compromised in this. And this might be the end of me for Kevin Holland. I've rode with this guy for a long time, through all the losses, through all the bullshit. This might be the end for me, because just how this whole fight played out was like peak Kevin Holland bullshit with the fucking nut shots. Then he tries and powers it through. Then he's got a built-in excuse for why he lost. Yeah, I might be done with Kevin Holland after this, and it kind of sucks, because I love Kevin Holland. But as for Mike Malott, I think he could take on a Colby Covington, a Gilbert Burns, one of those older guys, maybe a D-Rod, because D-Rod sucks, so maybe they'll try and just throw Mike Malott in there to get him out of the rankings. But I think Colby or Gilbert Burns make a lot more sense, because they're old shits and you want to get them out the rankings. So whatever, nice win for him. Kevin Holland, I think I'm officially done with you, and I'm done betting on you. Down the card we go, though, and this was a banger of a fight. Marlon Cheeto Vera versus Amin Zahabi. Fuck Amin Zahabi, just want to get that out there. And Cheeto Vera low-key won this fight. I mean, it was close. It really could have gone either way. I just like Cheeto a lot more than Amin Zahabi. Zahabi did a better job in round one. I thought just kind of landing. I think he had more volume in that round. But Cheeto had more damaging shots. And then this was an obvious round two for Cheeto. He dropped some Zahabi with a jab in round two and nearly finished him. Also had some nice kicks in this round and really, I thought throughout this fight was pushing a nice pace and had some pressure. And then fucking Eamon Zahabi, this cockroach fuck. He's next to Neil Magny in terms of cockroach. After he gets knocked down in that second round, he comes out in the third round and immediately fucking locks in and just starts pouring it on Chito Vera and really was beating his ass, and he rocked Chito. He pushed the pace on Chito Vera in that third round. Wins by split decision. It was a good fight. I honestly was kind of expecting this to be semi-boring. I've been kind of out on Chito recently, and I've never liked Eamon Zahabi. I mean, I was still excited to watch this because I like Chito Vera. But I didn't really know how exciting this would be. I figured it would just go to a unanimous decision for Eamon Zahabi, and then it goes to a split decision. It was a really close fight. And then Eamon Zahabi's bitch ass has the nerve to call out Sean O'Malley after this fucking fight. UFC, listen, I don't want to waste Sean O'Malley on Eamon Zahabi, but please make this fight. Because you know how funny it would be to watch Eamon Zahabi's fucking annoying ass get slept by Sean O'Malley? And this is coming from a guy who's not really a Sean O'Malley guy. I've never really been a Sean O'Malley guy, but he is exciting to watch when he's fighting, you know, shitbags like Eamon Zahabi or people who are not named Marab. Anybody not named Marab, Marab, not Marab. Marab, I want to see Sean O'Malley against. Chito, you're gonna fight a random unranked prospect, or maybe a unranked prospect, or maybe a prospect that we know. Good fight overall, though. Happy with how it turned out. This main card, you know, is still continuing to be awesome. Down the card we go, and we even got a finish in a women's fight. We got 2 finishes in women's fights on this. Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jourdain. Who cares? Enemy. Jasmine, what the fuck was this? I mean, thank God. I picked Manon Fiorot by decision. Nice finish by Manon Fiorot. Jasmine was bitching that it was like an early stoppage, but her body language is shit. Her legs, she was wobbling. She looked like she had no feeling in her legs. Fiorot did a nice job with pressure in this fight. It was just a nice win for her. And then she brought out like an iced out Labubu at like the end, you know, when they raised her hand. That was cool. She could be next for a title shot. Yeah, that's all I gotta really say about this. It was so short. Moving on to the second fight of the main card, Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant, and finally, and I like Davy Grant. Rest in peace, Davy Grant. Finally, I bet against this guy and pick against him, and he loses. You know what I mean? Early on, though, I'll say this. Davy Grant had some nice pressure early on, was like landing calf kicks, was landing some stuff. But then Charles Jourdain was like, I got the Canadian crowd behind me, I got the boost. He was just so much faster than Davy Grant. With Davy Grant's, what, fucking 50? He lands that flying knee, ground and pound, gets onto him, and then gets that insane, very tight guillotine. I mean, we all know Charles Jourdain has nasty guillotines. It was a beautiful guillotine, one of the tighter ones you're going to see. Davy Grant, he's a tricky customer, as Lucas Tracy would say. This is just a nice win for Charles Jourdain. Anybody who watches MMA knows Davy Grant's legit, even if he's old as shit. I think Charles Jourdain, he'll probably fight like, a guy who's close to the top 15, or maybe a back-end top 15 guy. Just a really nice win for him. Oh, I don't want to look at Davy Grant's profile. Just a really nice win for him. Happy for Charles Jourdain, and happy I finally picked against Davy Grant and he lost. Moving on to the opener of the main card, Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frevola. Shout out Long Island. Matt Frevola got finished in the first round, and Dan Mergliata this was the first instance of him drinking. It got progressively worse throughout the night. Kyle Nelson like finishes him on the round in round 1. And I was watching this at a restaurant. So I couldn't really hear like if their horn went off or really what was going on. But I saw the clock and Big Dan steps in and you're like, this is definitely an early stoppage, you know what I mean? Or definitely a stoppage, not an early stoppage. Just the fight was over. There was 3 seconds on the clock. And then the fight isn't over. It looked like Matt Frevola was out. And then Dan's like, I didn't hear the bell. So then they just keep fighting, and then, you know, fucking Kyle Nelson eventually gets the win. And thank God he got the win. I kind of want to feel bad for him. But early on, Matt Frevola had like nice pressure in this fight. But then he got too open and then ended up getting dropped, and it led to that situation that I described with Dan Mergliata drunk reffing. Round 2 comes on. Frevola probably won that round. Jesus, but body kicks from Nelson in like round 3, and I think at the end of round 2 really changed his fight. He started to really slow down Matt Frevola and like chinned him a little bit. And Matt Frevola is just so chinny. That chin's gone. That chin's cooked, brother. Then, like, fucking, I don't know, Kyle Nelson just did a better job mixing up this fight. I was kind of in and out of this fight because I thought it was over. Like, that was the thing. I saw Dan Mergliata step in, and I just assumed the fight was over, so I turn it off. And then I come in the middle of, like, round 3, and I'm like, what? I thought my stream was glitching out on my phone, but don't want to click on Matt Frevola with dreads there. Shame on Long Island, whatever, Matt Frevola. You didn't do your job. You're probably washed, brother. Featured fight of the prelims, Kyle Prepolec versus Drew Dober. This was a fucking banger of a fight. Prepolec looked slow as shit in the beginning, but he did a nice job eating shots from Drew Dober, who was really active and checking kicks, which ended up being a pretty big difference maker in this fight. And you start to notice Drew Dober's shit is just cut the fuck up, man. He was bleeding pretty bad. Prepolec started kind of finding his jab in round 2 and even dropped him with an uppercut at the end of that round. But at that point, it was still 1-1 because round 1, Drew Dober was throwing a lot of volume and he was hitting him. But by the end of round 2, Drew Dober looked like he had been punched in the face and had smeared like a used tampon on his face. I know that was insane to say, but that's what it looked like. And Prepolec looked like nothing had happened. You know what I mean? Round 3, there was a nasty nut shot, a kick to the balls of Prepolec. And they took a point away, which is ridiculous because there's no warning, but whatever. The UFC, they have no clue what they're doing. Then Drew Dober saw black. He just imagined that Kyle Prepolec was a minority, and he just unloaded on him. Beautiful, beautiful showing from Drew Dober. This guy, listen, if he fought a dude who had striking was better, he would get chinned and knocked out, but Prepolec just doesn't have the striking or, like, throws enough output, really. Even though in this fight, if you look at total strikes, he threw one more strike, but you know what I mean. He's not throwing, like, long combinations or anything, or at Drew Dober, and he's not very fast, but whatever. I would give Prepolec another shot at the UFC. I think he hasn't won a fight yet, but I thought he looked good in this. I thought he looked decent in this fight. And then Drew Dober gets the finish in round 3. He, like, blitzed them and then just threw a ton of punches and, like, finished them up against the fence, I think standing. Down the card we go. Cody Gibson versus Arichi Lang. I picked Cody Gibson to win this. Of course, he fucking lost. There was literally nothing occurred in this fight. Arichi Lang literally jumped him, touched him bad, dropped him dead. Guy got flatlined. Looked like he got shot by a freeze gun by Mr. Freeze. Left hand dropped him, and then he just got ground and pound, and that was it. That's all I could say. Arichi Lang, credit to you. I dissed you, but this fight was also pretty cool. Bruno Silva versus Hyung Sung Park. Bruno Silva kind of turned back the clock masterpiece. His back looked like pimple century, acne century. He's probably doing steroids, but he looked so much faster. He kind of dominated Hyung Sung Park in the grappling exchanges. Not kind of, 5 for 9 on takedowns. He just did a great job, but landing the uppercut. He was landing shots. Pretty much controlled those first 2 rounds. Hyung Sung Park realized he was behind 2-0 and then turned it up in the third, was like landing nice shots. And then Bruno Silva timed like a perfect takedown, took his back, got the submission. Again, Bruno Silva's probably juicing. And I'm not just saying that because I picked Hyung Sung Park to win. Look at his back. This was one of the few fights that didn't end in a finish. Danny Barlow versus Jordan Santos nearly did in the second round, but these two dudes were just scrapping. There was zero wrestling. I don't even remember one takedown being shot. There was like zero clinch work. It was just dudes throwing fucking wide shots at each other. Danny Barlow nearly finished Jordan Santos in the second round. It could have gone either way. Beautiful scrap, toss-up fight. Not much more to say about this fight, except it was absolutely beautiful. Even like Stephanie Luciano, she got a fucking finish over Ravena Oliveira. That was fun. I don't want to click on that. I'm just going through these ones as fast. I'll talk about this next one. And then Asma Bekoev versus Yusri Belgori. Yusri, man, he looked Alex Perez in this. You could see why he trained with him. Asma just couldn't find, he couldn't close the distance between him and Yusri. He couldn't land shit. He was like hunting that overhand right the entire time. Couldn't get the grappling to work at all. I figured he would. I know it says 4 for 8 on takedowns, but Yusri, I thought it did a great job if he, would scramble or stuff a takedown, or the takedown would kind of land and he would immediately get back up. Yusri did a really nice job. I was impressed with his fight. He did a great job from range, landing calf kicks, landing the jab, and then got a nice finish in round 3. He just did a great job. He was pummeling Azamat by that third round. You kind of knew there would be a finish. It was like a stand-up finish. Great fight from him, though. Looked a little Pereira-esque from Yusri. He's definitely something. I kind of want to watch out for him. He seems cool. And then Melissa Croden, Tainara Lisboa. Melissa Croden did a great job. Like, round 1, she kind of looked like shit. And then the next 2 rounds, she really turned it up and, like, blitzed her in that 3rd round and then fucking finished her. Nice upset win for her. And her debut, I think. And she showed out for the Canadian crowd. So, yeah, overall, pretty fucking solid card, I would say. A lot of finishes. Let's see, how many finishes were there? Here's 1, 2, 3, right? This was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 finishes out of what? 14 fights, 13 fights. That's pretty fucking good. And even decisions, like the Kevin Holland fight was weird as shit, but it was still a cool fight. The Danny Barlow, Jordan Santos fight was a banger. The Nelson Frevola fight was interesting. That was fun. Even the Cheeto Vera, Eamon Zahabi was a good fight too. It just, you wish there was a little bit more, like the main event was kind of a dud because it was just like shocking. You know what I mean? Like most of the fun for this main event was like, damn, I can't really believe that happened. And I can't believe RDR literally quit on the fucking stool being gassed. Just impressive. I can't believe this happened. I really wanted RDR to at least, maybe, I wanted to see the RDR versus DDP matchup. We all wanted to see that. We wanted to see the Goofy Goober Championship. We are no longer Goofy Goobers. We are, but we're not. It's on pause. Again, thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Even though we did shit on the picks, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, but next week we're gonna have that banger Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn card. That we're gonna have a great video for that. Maybe you have a special guest on for that card. That remains to be seen. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram. The doctor is signing off.